Hey y'all, welcome to week 6 discussion. My name's Stephanie Nicholson, and excuse my voice if it cracks or if it gives out. I've been battling a little bit of a cold for the past week and a half, so bear with me. I'm going to jump right into it with the introduction. So, relationships play a large role in the lives of humans. We can see this simply by looking at the world around us. If you think about your own life, you most likely will automatically think of the people you know, your friends, family, coworkers, fellow students. This yearning to be with others appears to be a foundational element to motivation. Casson et al. Talks about this need, specifically the need for affiliation, which we will talk about later. Another theory of motivation is introduced to us by Chatty, I'm not quite sure how you say that, et al., who presents to us the equity theory, which is based on the idea that humans are motivated by equity and by fairness. The Leary and Rand articles both discuss the situations and factors which influence and elicit behaviors, whether they be strong emotional reactions or altruistic tendencies. Casson et al. Talks about the need for affiliation, which is defined as the desire to establish and maintain many rewarding interpersonal relationships. Sorry for that typo. That relationship is supposed to be relationships. When we don't feel good about these relationships, or we feel like we don't have relationships, we experience loneliness. And loneliness is defined as the feeling of deprivation about existing social relations. There are different types of relationships and subcategories for these different groups. For instance, within romantic relationships, there are also different sexual orientations, which include hetero, homo, and bisexuality. There are also different attachment styles which can affect our relationships. Attachment styles are defined as the way a person typically interacts with significant others, and you can see how that would affect relationships so significantly. This is where the conversation about attachment styles working together comes into play. I'm sure you all have seen the how-to books out there. Alright, so within relationships, psychologists have been seeking to understand why and how individuals and couples are motivated. One theory of motivation is called the equity theory. This theory is defined as the theory that people are most satisfied with a relationship when the ratio between benefits and contributions is similar for both partners. In simple terms, you give what you get, or at least it should. This theory suggests that a person is satisfied within a relationship when the amount that they put in is returned and vice versa. If an inequity is noticed, the individual is motivated to fix it. For instance, if one partner feels like they're not putting in as much work into the relationship as their counterpart, they'll be motivated to put in more work. It can also work the other way, and if one partner feels as though they're putting in more work than their counterpart, they may quit trying or reduce the amount of effort put forth. Alright, so attraction. So what leads us to be attracted to others? Well, there are a number of different factors, which can include proximity, which is based on how close we are to a person and how frequently we come in contact with them, as well as sheer physical attraction. This physical attraction is more scientific than one might think. We learned that certain features are actually seen as more attractive to a large majority of people. In fact, the more faces morph together into one photo, the more beautiful we find it. As we read this week, evolutionary theory suggests that women and men have major differences in the features and characteristics that they find attractive. And as we talked about before, sorry about that, there are different kinds of relationships, and these relationships can be defined by who or by what characteristics we are attracted to. Prosocial behavior is defined as actions intended to benefit others. It's a topic that I've come to love, and I even had the opportunity to take a class about it in undergrad. There are many different factors which influence prosocial behavior, including evolutionary and motivational factors. Evolutionary factors motivate us to help those, such as relatives or people from our own group. Now, there is much debate on whether we help for egoistic reasons or for altruistic reasons. Egoistic factors are simple: it feels good to do good. Sometimes we can be motivated to help others because of the feeling we get. However, it's argued that we could also help others because we feel sympathy, motivated by altruistic factors. So that leads me to my questions. This week's reading brought about a lot of questions for me, specifically regarding the Christian faith in terms of, the altruistic and helping tendencies that we were reading about. And so, my first question is, if we are motivated to help by egoistic factors, what does that mean for our morality? So, for example, if we help the old lady cross the street because it makes us feel good, what does that say for our morality? Were we really trying to help the old lady cross the street as a moral choice, or was it just because it made us feel good? And then, how do you think that the equity theory translates in our faith? So, if we will never give as much as God gives us, how does that affect our relationship? I'm super interested to hear your guys' thoughts, and thanks so much for sticking with me this far.